Hey, what's up guys, Bo HD here, and it's 2021, and wires are becoming increasingly obsolete. Ports are being cut, and cables are being simplified to deliver data, power, and multimedia content. Generally speaking, I embrace this trend, as wires can be an eyesore, and they can also be a hazard. Like, I'm sure you've probably tripped over a cord or two in your lifetime. You've accidentally ripped out an earbud out of your ear because you caught the wire on something. We've all been there. But for audio, a wired connection can significantly reduce latency since it doesn't have to go through the additional steps of encoding, transmitting, and decoding data like wireless earphones do. They also can be plugged into a high-quality DAC or digital to analog converter that amplifies the sound to levels that wireless earbuds typically cannot do. And you don't have to worry about charging up a wired pair of earphones because there's no battery. They just draw the power from the music player. This is where I get to talk about the CE320 triple driver in-ear wired earphones from Clear Tune Monitors. So these are really designed for musicians to be used in live performances because of the low latency, but they can also be enjoyed for, casual music listeners like myself who just enjoys a high quality sound with lots of bass. Now, just a disclaimer, I was sent these earphones for review, but there was no incentive for me to give a favorable review. Everything mentioned in this video is just based off my findings. But as you can see, I've been using them with an older LG phone because this phone comes equipped with LG's unique quad DAC that I think is one of the best in the business, at least in the smartphone business. Rest in peace, LG. Sad to see you go. But I think this phone really helps me get the most out of the 320s and allowed me to tweak the various frequencies to highlight the mids and the lows. In my experience, I found that the low ends are very pronounced but not too overpowering despite the extra bass branding on the box. You still get a clean and accurate sound, but with added low frequencies that should help please the bass heads or just bass-hungry music listeners. Or I will say musicians who are rocking bass guitars or drums. And if you really want a bass-induced headache, you can use an equalizer to crank up the lows even more, but I would say out of the box, they're tuned to my liking. Meanwhile, the vocals from female singers like Phoebe Bridgers to Lana Del Rey, as well as male artists and in bands like Vampire Weekend to James Mercer's The Shins, they all sound super detailed and natural. And overall, I think that they deliver a very smooth and enjoyable listening experience. As a intermediate music listener myself, someone who's not super technical or picky, but just likes to relax every once in a while and listen to a nice high quality pair of headphones. And what's nice to see is that I've never really experienced any listening fatigue. Now, they are in-ear earbuds that create a suction that eliminates some background noise just naturally. And in my experience, this tends to create a headache for me after a while. But after testing these out for several hours on end, I never really noticed any fatigue here, even with the extra bass that they offer. They also come with several different sized ear tips to help create the best fit, and you can pick between silicone or foam tips. They feature a braided cable that has a rigid plastic portion near the earbud that hooks up and over the ear. So if they do come out of your ears, they won't fall to the ground. But surprisingly, they never fell out of my ears, even without any sort of custom rubber ear fin design or other anchoring system. So that's a nice plus. Like, I've always had issues with earbuds and in-ear earbuds in particular, as they just never quite formed a good suction or would just stay in my ears very well. But these, I think, given the fact that they go up and over your ear, they stayed in just fine. Also worth mentioning is you get a clamshell case and the usual 3.5mm to 6.3mm adapter for plugging them into an amp. And I will say the packaging as a whole is fairly cheap for a $250 pair of earphones, but I generally don't consider that too much of a negative if it appears that the money that was saved in the packaging department was invested into the product itself, which does seem to be the case. Now, these are definitely not going to be the best all-around pair of earbuds, as they have no microphones, no buttons to activate digital assistants, or any phone functionality at all. But if you're a musician or a music listener who just can really appreciate what a pair of high-quality, low-latency earphones have to offer, then I can recommend you pick up the CTM CE320s. And I'll place a link in the description if you want to investigate them further. With that said, guys, if you have any questions or concerns, let me know in a comment down below. I'll do my best to answer them. Shout out to CTM for sending these out for review. As always, I'm Bo HD from Slash.tv. Hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you right back here in the next one. See ya.